All right, finally, we are live. Just Your Average Joe and my co-host Kitty, and we're coming at you with the finale preview of WandaVision right here on Talk Soup. All right, guys. That being said, finally here. I'm sorry, I was having some internet connections problems, and I can see that my audio is a little off. Hopefully, that'll correct as we either go along or when the stream is live. When the stream is not live. All right. So basically, what we're going to do today, and I thought about this either yesterday or the day before. I figured let's go on the day before the finale and ask the questions that we haven't gotten answered yet, and whether we think it's going to be answered in tomorrow's finale, and discuss the questions amongst ourselves and with anybody that joins us on the live stream, and just see if we can come to some conclusions on whether they're going to be answered and what those answers might be. So that would be speculation. And then there's a couple of things I did want to talk about. One theory I did have that I wanted to run by you and whoever's watching, and also talk about what the director of WandaVision has come out and said about maybe possible some fans might be a little disappointed with tomorrow's finale, which is not a good thing to hear, unless they're just trying to downplay the finale and it's just going to be amazing, which I'm hoping for the latter. So how you doing today, Kitty?
All right, how are you?
I'm good. All right. Thank you for bearing with me. I do know we were supposed to go on an hour ago, and again, I'm sorry if my internet connection is off. I have Verizon coming tomorrow, hopefully fixing everything once and for all. All right, so let's go over a couple things. Let's go. Star Wars Stevens in the house. I appreciate that. And of course, as always, a not so ordinary Jedi, aka Starspeed, aka Lewis. And thank you. I appreciate that, guys. Okay, so let's go into it. So, really quick, number one, are we going to get, and who is exactly Evan Peters' character? Are we 100% convinced that he is not the Fox's version of Quicksilver? Was this just a misdirect in signing this actor to play Fietro, the fake Pietro? Or can it maybe possibly play out with Wanda coming out disclaiming he's an imposter, Agatha saying what she's saying? Is this just another misdirect, or do you think that Evan Peters is just a misdirect in itself, and they just got him to play the part as like a clever nod to the Fox's universe?
So, two things I think it could be. Either this could be because, like, I went back and I watched that episode when he came, and I did hear sirens go off. So somebody did enter.
Yes.
So this could be he crossed over from another dimension, and this could be a multiverse thing.
Yes.
Okay. And then that's what it could be. One thing that it could be. Another thing, it could be another person inside of Westview that is, that they, since both of them kind of have that ability to make people look like somebody else.
Yes.
Maybe it was another person in Westview, and it's just like a recast in Wanda's world.
Well, there was actually a good theory until you just reminded me about the sirens. But there was a good theory, because it's another question that we're going to get to, but we might as well just fucking do it now. Pardon the French here, but somebody had said it's possible, because we haven't seen him since, I think, episode 1 or 2, the Beekeeper. Did she repurpose the Beekeeper, and is that possibly Pietro being in disguise? But you basically just answered it, though. It was definitely, again, we do hear sirens, and people did point that out right before Pietro knocks on the door. So it means that somebody was pulled in from outside. The Beekeeper is already inside. What happened to him? I'm going to get to that a little later. That's the other question I was going to ask you. But so I don't think that that's the case. I think a multiverse is a good option. Now, I commented on a YouTuber's stream today, And I basically said this. He claims that Spider-Man Far From Home, which is true, it is set 6 or 7 months ahead of WandaVision. Okay. And he said, well, there's no mention. That movie already came out and there's no mention of anything with the multiverse. So I commented, I said, John, and this is the guy's name, no mention of mutants in Far From Home set 6, 7 months after WandaVision. Far From Home end credits, hold my beer, because they basically did sort of hint at a multiverse by introducing J. Jonah Jameson being portrayed by the same guy who acted the character in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. So I'm thinking I feel like that had to have laid some type of groundwork, unless they just wanted to reuse that actor because he's phenomenal in that role. But I feel like that was a tease of a multiverse already, and that was in Far From Home, and that was months set ahead of WandaVision. So I think it's very possible, because Wanda is now proclaimed to be a Nexus being, and she can draw from from other realities. It's highly possible. Mm-hmm. Highly possible. He says the Beekeeper is a key to everything, which is possible. I mean, unless he's just a throwaway character, but it just makes no sense that they never addressed what she did with him. Did she kill him?
I think when we get to that Beekeeper part, I think she killed him.
Love you guys. You make the show watch such a pleasure. By the way, it's 3 a.m. back here in Bangalore. India. Kudos and more power to you guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And he's gotta wait even longer than us. Because no, they're ahead of us. What am I talking about?
Yeah, they're ahead of us.
Yeah. So you're gonna see it way before us. I hope you enjoy it. I really do. That's right, because they're gonna see it, and then of course these guys here in the chat are also gonna see it before us. I'm always jealous. Yep. I wake up 10 o'clock in the morning. They've already seen it. Mm-hmm. A bit off topic, but I learned recently that this character who can kick holes in reality is showing up in Doctor Strange 2. Which character? Maybe she kicked the Keeper out. I mean, it's possible. Why not show it though? They showed Wanda. I mean, I guess again, he's not a real, to me at least, he's not a primary character, so they really don't need to show it. Yeah. But all right. So you're convinced, you think that it's a multiverse thing, right?
It could be, or like I said, it's just somebody inside of the world and
just repurposed.
And Agatha probably just repurposed him just to torment her. There's 2 possible options there.
And Kevin Feige just basically trolled his fans by casting Evan Peters. I mean, that's possible. Yeah. All right, number 2, not a main topic, but are we gonna get the answer? Maybe not. Is Hayward an actual villain?
So,
what do you guys think? Do you think Hayward's a villain, or do you think he's just being I mean, at this point, the fact that he lied about Wanda stealing Vision's body, the fact that they had this plan all along, but they just needed the power source to power him up, because as he said, they pulled them apart and put them together over 1 million times, but no matter what power source they used, they couldn't power him back up and bring him back online. And I think that's why. Again, I'm not saying that he knew at that very moment Wanda was going to storm the sword facility, or, come into the sword facility and be there. But I really feel like he was baiting her in that scene, because he was trying to get to see if maybe she can power him up.
Well, not only that. So, yes, I think Hayward is a villain. But not only is he trying to power up Vision, he's trying to turn Wanda into a bad guy.
Wow. The Scarlet Witch. Oh, he's he's trying to vilify her. Yes, he's trying to make her exactly. Yeah.
So he's a bad guy. There's no.
Well, because also too,
more going on as well than just White Vision.
Yeah, because if he doesn't put doubt in the eyes of the other guys like Monica and Jimmy and Darcy and all the other people, if he doesn't make Wanda out to be a villain, then they might not. I mean, I'm not saying that he wouldn't be able to override them, but then that attack using White Vision doesn't look as good, because they wanted to make he needed for them to think that she was a threat.
Right.
So I definitely think, and I think so too. That's where I heard, and that's what I was saying. Kevin said in an interview that Evan Peters was just a nod to the fans, but I mean, if he did cast him to be the Fox's version of Quicksilver, he's not going to tell you either. Which is a bit of an annoying move, if you ask me. Which again, we don't know if that's actually certain, and I'm hoping it's not. I really do hope we get a tease. They don't have to come out and say it outright, but I really do hope we get, and that's one of the other things I wanted to mention is, you know what? I'll get to that in a minute. Are Tommy and Billy real?
So I think they're real within the hex. I think because outside of the hex, Vision ceases to exist.
Right.
So I think outside of the hex, I don't think Tommy and Billy can exist. And so I just think that Tommy and Billy are just existence of Wanda's love and her pain and all her sacrifices of what's going on. So she created them from that. And even within the comics, they're created from her magic.
Yeah.
And the whole Mephisto line, and they came to, he came and took them back. And then eventually I found out through the end, they eventually outsmarted him and absorbed him. And that's how they became real.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how they became real and became teenagers within the Avengers, like that Teenage Avengers thing.
Yeah, the Young Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, so the Young Avengers. So I think that within that timeline and that hex, yes, they're real. Outside of that, I don't think they are.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. And if you go by the comics, I think we get the answer. But again, we don't know what the MCU versions of Tommy and Billy are going to be. I would like to believe they're going to be real. And really quick, he says, it's literally gotten to the point where I can recite the full Agatha All Along song. And it's funny that you say that. I was very tempted to buy. They actually have it on iTunes as a ringtone. But I really have my phone on sound. It's usually on silent, so it's not worth paying for. But yeah, he says Billy and Tommy have to be real. Also, Monica said that they are real. But what is real to another person within that world? But I agree. Also, what is the point of bringing them in just to kill them off? I mean, they did that in the comics. It's clear to me that they are setting up Young Avengers, which I agree to. My only thing is, so she created Vision. We already saw how she created Vision through her hex and through what it looked like the power of the Mind Stone. I mean, it was that color. But she gave birth to the twins. I mean, they literally came out of her thing, I mean, a kid's show. So I want to be a PG here, but she did give birth to them. I'm like, it wasn't a natural birth in regards to the actual time of pregnancy, because was she pregnant for a day? But they did come out of her body, I'm assuming. I mean, Monica did help her give birth. So I think that's why Monica says they're real. So I don't know if they're switching it up. I don't know if they're just, because again, in the comics, if it were going solely by comics, I can see why they would either be either just a product of the hex or pieces of Mephisto's soul, in that regard. But I do tend to believe that they might be a different product because of the way they were born. But she
gives birth to them in the comics too. She also gives birth to other children in the comics.
I didn't know that. I don't know. When it comes to comics, I have no idea.
It's not like she doesn't give birth. It's just that, the existence of them are never just real. Like, I don't understand. So
yeah, you got Tommy and Billy, you got Kate Bishop, Cassie Lang, Ms. Marvel. I thought there was one other person. Is Spider-Man part of that too? The Young Avengers? I don't know. I have no idea.
And Ms. Marvel's getting her own show.
Yeah, she's getting another series. Yeah, she's getting a series. Yeah,
series. And I think whatchamacallit, Hawkeye's daughter is probably. I think she's introduced into his show, right?
Yes, Kate Bishop is going to be introduced into Hawkeye. Yes, played by Haley Steinfeld. Yeah. So.
It may be a setup to introduce those characters into a Young Avengers type thing.
Yeah.
But we don't know, because in this show of WandaVision, Billy and Tommy are still young. We don't see their characters in an older state where they could fit into that type of timeline.
Right. Yeah. Which leads me to believe they either might age again or they might do something like they did in the comics where they don't survive, but then they do.
Right. And that's what I'm kind of thinking. They don't exist now without this reality in this hex, and something's got to happen for them to actually exist in real life.
Yes, it's a good question. Joe, what comics have you read? The answer to that, Jedi, is none. Ask me how many comics I own, but ask me how many I read. They are all sitting under my bed in a
That is a
huge
funny question, Jeff.
in a huge plastic bin. But the thing is though too, like when Avengers started, when the Infinity War, the Civil War, the Infinity War, all those other things too, I did refer to the readings behind that because I did want to understand it more from a comics point of view. So although I haven't read the comic storylines, but I did try to familiarize myself, with the House of M storyline, with the whole Agatha and the whole, even the White Vision, I tried to catch myself up on. But again, when it comes to comics in the MCU, they're not going to go hand in hand because they're not going to be religious to it because then everybody will know and be able to guess what's coming. So, but no, to answer a quick question, no. I mean, quick answer would be no. I haven't read any comics. I'm sorry. Okay. Number 4, who is Ralph? Are we gonna finally get that answer to who the hell is Ralph? Is it Mephisto?
Well,
Is it Pietro?
So that book that was in that
the supposed Darkhold?
Yeah, so that that's called Necronomicon, I think that book is. It's the darkest of books of it's like the black magic book.
Yeah.
So that has associations with a guy named Ralph Halley.
Oh.
Okay, and he is a character that evolves around Agatha Harkness and Scarlet Witch.
Oh, where did you find that?
So I was doing some like Marvel database, like Googling in the background.
Yeah.
And that book, the Necronomicon book, is tied to a character named Ralph Halley. And he's going into that book. And the Scarlet Witch, considered that book like an abomination, and she wanted to destroy all copies. And Agatha Harkness stated that it would be really useful to help with Wanda's demon problems. And that's that. So I was wondering if that is the actual book. And if it's that actual book, that book's tied to Ralph Halley. And he used that book to try to dig into dark magic. He's a human man.
That would make sense on 2 levels. One, because people keep saying on the internet that is not the Darkhold because they don't align. But again, we're going by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that's not generally canon, but they're going by that. So they're going by the cover of the book. It doesn't match up. But the other part is, and you brings up a really good point now, is the whole reason that her coven turned on her was because she was trying to tap into dark magic. So maybe that's actually a really, and I had no idea about the Ralph. You said Ralph Halley?
That's Halley.
Okay. I haven't read too much either. Don't worry. I've read the Infinity Gauntlet, The Death of Captain America when I was like 7, the first issue of House of M, and ordered Mrs. Marvel. And then he said, to be honest, that missing person thing, I have doubts will be answered. I think it was just a throwaway, just to give a reason for Wu and Monica to be there. It would be cool to see it answered, though. And yeah, and that was the other thing, too, I was going to talk about right after Ralph, was the whole missing witness. Is it Ralph? Who is it? Is it Pietro? That we come to whatever. But I guess we can answer that question there about the witness. But the whole Ralph thing, I do like that theory, and that just makes the most sense if they're going to go that route. Mm-hmm. Because of Agatha's ties with what seems to be dark magic. Yeah. And the whole reason that her coven was trying to kill her.
Yeah, she keeps referencing that Ralph character, and he has, if you go down that Marvel database rabbit hole, that ties into it. And I'm like, that would be freaking interesting if that's what that is. So
now she did, however, say that she cannot perform necromancy and she cannot do a spell that would raise the dead. At least she doesn't have the power to do that. And that might be why maybe that's why she needs Wanda, or she's trying to tap into Wanda's energy to be able to do something like that. Because she was even surprised when one of the twins said, fix the dead. And she's like, you can do that? Like she was literally she was trying to figure out if she can, because she wants to learn that power. Yeah. And the other thing too, as Jedi said about the witness, it could be just a throwaway. It could be just a plot device that was supposed to get Wu and Monica at that, at 2 Westview. But I feel like, I don't know. Marvel's not one to throw away something like that. I just feel like it might get revisited, but who knows? I mean, it wouldn't be a major plot line if they didn't. So I wouldn't be too upset or disappointed if we don't ever find out. It could have just been, all right, well, that was just the means to start the story. All right, will Vision survive this?
Well, you don't want to hear my take on who I think the witness might be?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said. All right, no, go. Yeah, of course.
Some people are thinking it might be Justin Hammer. Did you read that?
I did. Yes.
So I thought that was kind of like a cool take. But
That,
I think it might be two people. It may be. So since Wu has some ties to Bill Foster from Ant-Man and the Wasp, that could be a good thing. That could be like a nice whatever tie-in. Or Baron Mordo from Doctor Strange.
yes. Baron Mordo was another one that was possible.
Those could fill in that who are we going to see? Who,
But would Mordo need to be a witness though? Because of I don't know if he would need a witness or protection of anything.
Well, I don't know if that's really what they're saying, though. I think maybe witness is kind of just, like a weird tie back. I don't know. But that's why when people said Justin Hammer, I was like, that would kind of be cool in a way.
Hammer makes sense, but even Justin, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I do like those theories. I do. But I think we're both in agreement. I think at the end of the day, either we may not even get who it is, or I mean, I don't know. Like, and I said this a while ago. I said this how many streams ago, that the whole idea of a witness, when you have like a witness protection kind of thing, is that a witness is usually thrown into an area that is far away from where they're from. Generally, they're not going to put you where you're close to any known associates or family. So the fact that Wu did come all the way from Oakland to find this guy because none of his known associates or family has heard from him, there's got to be somebody that doesn't have ties within the whole Jersey thing. But then why is that Hex or whoever was controlling not within the Hex, but the manipulation of the 5-mile radius outside the Hex? That's why the Eastview cops, which I don't even know if there is an Eastview, but those cops didn't even know Westview was there when it was right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was said no more wizards. You think that's what Scarlet Witch is going to say at the end? You think she's going to proclaim, I'm the Scarlet Witch, and then say no more wizards? I just want to ask, what is up with Agatha's eyebrows? I didn't notice. Wait a minute. Does she have none? Or was it just the makeup?
It goes the makeup. They got really dark.
Okay. Yeah. They were like, oh, he says the opposite. They're like 10 times more thick.
It's
I didn't even notice that. I didn't notice that. All right. Moving on. Will Vision survive? So do you think Vision's going to survive this?
Was that one of your questions?
Yeah. Number 5.
No. Do I think Vision's going to survive this? No.
Yeah. I think she's going to have to. I think she's either going to have to kill him herself by relinquishing the Hex. Because remember, another person brought this up, and it's this very completely valid and makes sense. If White Vision is powered by Monica's Hex powers, wouldn't he be unstoppable inside the Hex? Because it's constantly like, wouldn't he feed off of the powers within the Hex? So in order to defeat him, she might have to give up and relinquish the Hex itself, losing Vision in the process. He says, Steve says, more thick the eyebrows, the more the powerful her magic is. That's the rule. That's what I heard. Vision is done. I'll explain. And yeah, the makeup on her is crazy. Well, especially when she was doing in this scene right here behind us, when she was full Agatha and she was choking out the kids. I mean, there's all black and she looks like a witch.
Yeah.
But I think so, Stephen, I don't know if that's what you're about to say, but I think because White Vision has been shown that he is powered by Wanda's Hex powers from the drone. Inside the Hex, he would be, which somebody actually says, and this is another good theory, that White Vision is the actual great white shark that was depicted in the cartoon commercial. And he's the one that's going to be feeding on Wanda's magic. And in order for her to survive, she's going to have to open up that yogurt, and that might mean pull the plug on the Hex and lose Vision and most likely her kids.
She's gonna, yeah. Definitely.
And when that comes, she's gonna go fucking crazy.
She's gonna go crazy.
Yeah. I just don't see how this is gonna end in a good way. And honestly, if they did it where it was like a comic book ending where Doctor Strange comes and saves the day, or Monica Rambeau saves the day, I honestly don't want that. I'm not saying I want Elizabeth Olsen and Scarlet Witch to be evil completely, for good, but I do want her to be the main villain in this and set up.
I think maybe that's what, I think that's what people don't want. I don't want her to be a villain, just like right. I didn't want Phoenix to be Dark Phoenix because she's a villain, but Dark Phoenix ends up being one of my favorite characters,
Yeah, somebody else brought that up, Stephen. That's another good point. So Vision is already still pronounced dead, or as fallen, a fallen Avenger in Far From Home, which is set months afterwards. Now, there's two things that could happen from that. A could be a continuity error, because WandaVision might not, like the events of WandaVision might not have been in motion when Far From Home came out, as far as the series goes, not comic book line. But the other thing is too that maybe Vision is shown to be dead, but he's not behind the scenes. But I think it doesn't matter either way. Without the Far From Home continuity, I still think Vision doesn't make it out. And I think the reason why is because they went out of their way to show you what happens when he goes out of the Hex, what happens to him. Mm-hmm. I think that image and that scene was shown specifically for you to know that Vision cannot survive outside the Hex. I think that's why they showed that scene. And that's why it was important for him to get out. So that's just that. Anything you want to add to that? I don't know. No. Okay. Will we actually get a Skywalker-like cameo? Because everybody's been talking about this, and this is one of the reasons why I think the director came out and said what he said. He basically said, I've seen a lot of fan theories. I've read them all, most of them. And going by those, a lot of people are going to be disappointed by this finale. And I was talking to these guys in our Instagram, group. And we were basically saying this. We've been saying this for a few weeks now, especially Lewis. We're basically saying that we're doing this to ourselves, and all these theories and all these, you know what I'm saying? Like we're building up these things. So if they don't happen, we get disappointed as fans. And this Skywalker cameo was never really actually said. Somebody just asked him in an interview, hey, Mandalorian just had a huge Luke Skywalker cameo in their finale. Do you guys have anything like that? And Lizzie Olsen just basically said, yeah. Now, she might not have even said yeah to that question. It just might have been edited to where it looked like she was saying yes to that. Or the cameo might have just been Pietro.
Or it could be a cameo that's big to her. But to Marvel fans, it's just like womp womp,
Now, Paul Bettany did say that he got to work beside an actor that he always wanted to work with.
Wanted to work with, yes.
Yeah, that he never got a chance to. But wouldn't it be hysterical if he just meant himself?
Also Justin Hammer.
No, what if he meant himself? Because he's playing both characters.
But he also said that he wanted to work with an actor he's always wanted to work with, which is also Justin Hammer.
Right.
So
I want Doctor Strange. I wouldn't mind it. You know what? Because when you think of all the possible cameos, unless they're going to go with the silly one, like I said, with Deadpool or something like that, it just makes sense. Doctor Strange makes the most sense because she's tying into his movie.
Absolutely. Or a character from Doctor Strange.
Or Paul Bettany could have been joking. And that's honestly, I think that's what it is. Because I think, so pretend I'm an actor, right? I've always wanted to work with this person and I'm playing two characters. That would be me trolling you guys saying, oh, I get to work with an actor I never worked besides. And it's me.
Or it could be like, I've always wanted to work with White Vision.
I want Mr. I know. Trust me, I know. I wanted, you know what though, too, when I've been saying this, they don't have to introduce the character of Mr. Fantastic or Reed Richards. Give us a fucking name.
I wanted Reed Richards. I thought that would have been a cool tie-in because Fantastic Four needs that really good reboot that we've always wanted.
Lennon Poole says Deadpool has been watching WandaVision the whole time. That's what I want. I want him just to show up. So somebody had said this, and I think I said this in my last stream or the last time we were on together.
You've been saying it the last 2 or 3 straight.
Somebody said, most specifically about Deadpool, how funny would it be if he comes into the picture and he said, what were you expecting, Luke Skywalker? And that's your Skywalker cameo. And so I thought that was a brilliant theory. And I would love to see Deadpool. And I know it wouldn't make sense. It would just be more for comic relief and just a silly, a silly cameo. But it'd be a good way to introduce Deadpool in the current MCU, which they haven't yet.
Yeah. And he's making those jokes saying like this movie's too cheap to hire any real X-Men and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that is funny that he was just watching the whole time. Good point, Steven. And then, of course, by the way, I think the aerospace engineer lady is that. Yeah, that's another thing we were talking about, you and I, Kitty, was the fact that that's possibly Talos and Soren, I believe is the mother's name, their daughter, that was playing Uno with Monica in Captain Marvel. That's another good point. I really think Skrulls might be hinted. Maybe even Hayward's a Skrull, but just a bad Skrull, because in the comics Skrulls were bad, but we've already shown in Captain Marvel that they're not. So that's possible that even Hayward might be a Skrull trying to infiltrate Sword. Oh my God, if Deadpool is a cameo and he drops that line, that would be absolutely insane. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I heard that, I was like, that's fucking brilliant. So yeah, I'm hoping. So what I hope there is a cameo. Again, Doctor Strange, I think at this point makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But, and I've said this before about the names or whatever, if they want to drop, if they even want to just lay some Easter eggs or, breadcrumbs on the Fantastic Four, they could have done it in a computer file. They could have done it.
And again, if this is like a multiverse situation, it could just be, we get Aaron Taylor. Or the other.
Could get Aaron Taylor. We could get the actual Quicksilver. We can get Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Over,
I say actual Quicksilver. I prefer the other one anyway. I prefer Evan Peters Quicksilver. I do.
Is what it is at this point. So.
And how cool would it be if we get that? And I was talking to these guys too about it. The Time in a Bottle scene. We get that song or the Sweet Dreams from the Apocalypse movie. Because those are the two scenes that we have, that were really good with Evan Peters, where he does his Quicksilver slow motion scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping that we get that. But yeah. All right. Here we go. Talking about multiverse and possible Fantastic Four. Are we going to get a definitive mention of the word mutants? Is it going to be told? Because that thing that they changed now. Well, I'm not saying they changed it because I don't really know the storyline of the comics. And I think the Scarlet Witch thing is something in the comics where it's passed on to her from her mother. A different storyline, not the mother that was said to be Magneto's wife, but another version of her mother in the comics. Are we going to get the mention of mutants? And was the fact that she had powers before going to Strucker and Hydra a nod to that she had a gene that was enhanced by the stone?
So here's a theory I kind of. This picture right here with Agatha and the kids.
Yeah.
I think in this time, like in this hex, her kids are real, right?
Yeah.
I think along these lines, something's going to happen in the end of the episode where she's going to lose Vision and her children, right? So it's going to come to the point where she might go crazy. They keep showing us little tidbits of House of M. House of M this, House of M that, House of M.
Yes, they are.
In the House of M, that's when you learn like Wanda flips reality over and the mutants rule everything. Okay. So I think that's what they're alluding to. Why are they dropping these little House of M hints and all these things, and her children are involved in this? And, I mean, why would this occur if we're not going to get the mention of mutants?
I agree. I mean, it would be not only a missed opportunity, but I feel like it is the best way to A, not only introduce, but B, explain their absence. Where have the mutants been this whole time? And the other thing is, too, you can easily, so a lot of people said, well, if you bring the mutants in now, you won't get Magneto's origin story about the Holocaust and whatever, and you're going to lose that. You're going to lose, if people were so threatened by mutants, then why aren't they the same about superheroes and their abilities? So why would people have an issue with mutants? So there wouldn't be any prejudice against mutants now because we have superheroes. I think the best way to do it is you tease them now, mention them now, but then give them a solo movie that's post WandaVision. Solo movie from their own dimension. So they are Magneto is raised during the Holocaust. They are experiencing all that, but just not in our dimension. And then WandaVision is the gap, the bridge, that brings them into this dimension, and that's why they now exist. Yeah. I think it's just it makes the most sense. And yeah, they are the whole House of M thing. Again, I don't know if that's why they're doing it. I don't know if they're just making it that the Scarlet Witch is something that's passed down. The Scarlet Witch mantle is something that's passed down, and she's just a witch. But then how do you explain Fietro and Quicksilver's ability? It just would make sense that they do have a mutant gene, and that's the teaser gene. Or because she is a Nexus being, she could be the sole mutant because she's from other dimensions all at once. So again, I don't know that. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how they do it.
Well, in the comics too, she does destroy all the mutants.
She does right here at the end. No more mutants, and she wipes. Yeah. I think the show is mainly based on the West Coast Avengers and House of M. Yes, and the whole White Vision shows that too.
Yeah, that's from the West
Mr.
Coast.
Dirtbike says hi. Hey, what's up, Jacob? Wait, were you always Mr. Dirtbike? No, that's got to be a new name. Yeah, that's right. Because you usually your name was Jacob on YouTube. I'm gonna have to head out, guys. Can't wait for something. Yeah, same here, man. Thank you for stopping by and thank you for chatting with us. Starspeed, as always, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys in the chat later. Okay, almost done. What happened to the beekeeper? We already talked about that, so forget that.
Yeah.
Who are the two? Now that we saw a vision or a flashback of Wanda's actual parents, who are those two people in the commercials? Because they're the only constant, actors that are in those commercials. So are those just people that are in there? What is that?
So 3 possibilities.
Peace.
I think. Either they're just normal random people. She's just projecting like she does other things.
Mm-hmm.
She just used them as a constant. Or they're people who have wronged her in her life. We just don't know the backstory on them yet. Because these commercials obviously are a representation of traumas in her life, right?
Yes.
So these are probably 2 people that have ultimately traumatized her, and we just don't know the backstory yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Or Marvel just has something up their sleeve and we just don't know it yet.
I had a theory that I thought of just last night. I posted it on another YouTube channel. I didn't get any hits from it, but let me see what you guys think. I know this is a stretch, guys. I'm already admitting it's a stretch, but hear me out because there's similarities between the two. Because of Wanda's love for sitcoms, and we've seen it already in in every episode, especially the first few episodes, the references to Dick Van Dyke and all the other things too. There's one thing that was shown, but it wasn't shown prominently. And I'm thinking, if you look at, especially the actress, the guy is a stretch, but the actress itself reminds me so much. And the reason why I say this is because I was just recently watching this on Hulu. I think it's Hulu. Is it possible that they're just there because they resemble a little bit of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz? She looks like Lucille Ball a lot. And I know we were trying to me at least, I feel like she looks like Lucy a lot. And I know he doesn't really look much like Desi Arnaz, but is that a possibility that that's why they're the constant, is because they resemble those two figures? Again, I said this is a stretch. I don't think this is true, but because I'm trying to figure out who these people are.
Reach.
What?
Does your arm hurt with that reach?
A little bit. Yeah, I strained my arm a little bit. I don't know, because she does, again, like her face, she kind of reminds me of a Lucille Ball, but again, it wouldn't make any sense, because why would they be in the newer commercial? So I don't think that's what it is. But yeah, I really hope we find that out. It could just be that that's what Marvel uses, those actors, but it just wouldn't make any sense why. There's got to be something.
The girl actor was in some like comic movies, like DCU, right?
I didn't know.
Yeah, she's been in some DC and Marvel movies. So
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
all right, guys, and so 2 off-topic questions that have nothing to do with that. This is just something that I was thinking about.
I can put this away since I wasn't prepared for these.
That's fine. It's just a discussion or whatever. My question is now. We got the scene where she goes to the sword facility. We know that she didn't actually take Vision's body, but we saw what happened when she opened the deed, and after she goes to Westview, she sees there's no house, it's just a plot of land. And then after seeing that and the deed and the whole, to grow old in V, and then she just loses it and completely melts down, and that's where the genesis and the origin of the hex is. Now, I was saying to you before we came on live, and I was just trying to think this over and over again. Now hear me out. They obviously have been living together since Civil War, or Age of Ultron. I'm sorry.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron in the Avengers facility. And you can see they started somewhat of friendship, at least in the Age of Ultron, when he says that thing about grief and whatever. And they got closer as the years go on. Then they're on the run. They're hiding. In fact, they can't. What's Captain America and Black Widow? Like, they're not answering, because what was it? Vision went offline, and Banner goes, "You lost another Superbot, Tony," and that's because they're on the run. So they're doing whatever they're doing. I can't remember what country they were in. It was somewhere in Europe. Where were they? Not Sweden. Was it Norway? I can't remember where they are in Infinity War, but in the beginning of Infinity War, when they're together, he's talking to her. He's like, why do we have to go back? Let's just run away together. Let's just stay together. And then that's when, Wanda sees on the TV that the Avengers, there's an attack on New York. Then there's a fight. Then, my point is, when was their time? Because I feel like it was right there and then it was established that Vision was basically saying, look, let's be together. Why would he have bought a house or a plot of land for them to grow old in prior to that scene? And then any scene after that, there's no way he could have bought a property or anything like that. And then he dies. And then she gets blipped. And she's gone for 5 years. So my question is, with the short version now, is that deed actually real, or was it used to manipulate her feelings and to get her to Westview? So whatever happened can happen, because if you look at, so you look at Agatha's house. Did she make that ancient ruins? Like, that foundation that's under that house, her basement, was that always like that, or did she do that? Because that looks ancient. So that's why I'm asking, did something draw Wanda there for that specific reason? Or did Agatha make that after the fact, after the hex was made? Those are my questions. Steven says, I want to nod to Toby and Andrew. I want to nod to either one of them, but like I said, dude, if I see Tobey Maguire at the end of this, you see any vision of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I'm going to lose my shit. So, I mean, what do you think? After I said that, again, is it possible that it's real and he bought a house or a plot of land? Sure. But it doesn't add up. The timelines don't add up. And I just feel like, when the hell did he have time to go and do that? And it just seems like that was just a plot device, because when was she handed that deed? When did she get that envelope? Where did she get that envelope? Because she's been gone for 5 years. So when did it get into her possession?
Well,
so
now I think that what you said the second.
Doesn't it seem like that might just be a ploy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just, after everything that's been going on in this series, I'm questioning everything now. But Yeah, I mean, I was even going as far, and I was telling you this too. I was going as far as questioning whether that was actual Vision's body that she went to go visit. But I'm 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 with that it was. As I did say that the colors didn't match up a little bit. I felt like it had a little bit more color than it did grayscale. But when I went back to watch Infinity War after he got the stone pulled out of his head, it
So
wasn't it. The color wasn't that off. Go ahead.
so that's what I kind of went back when we were talking about Tommy and Billy. I wanted to go back to that with Vision too.
Okay.
I wrote a note down before I forgot.
Go ahead.
So we were talking about she gave birth, right?
She birthed it.
But Vision's not technically real because we're going back to what you're saying, right? Vision doesn't have any DNA to put into.
Yeah, no, I mean, he didn't. There's nothing about those kids are a part of him.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's yeah. So
yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing that he could have done that. I mean, I don't
so
even know if he has an actual unit.
right, right, right. And then now you're making me second guess this whole deed thing too now.
I mean, that's possible. That's possible too, Stephen. It is. But then why did it get white then again? Not white. Why was it grayish when they finally did put him back together? And then when they powered him up, that's when he became fully white. But I'm straying away from that whole thing where I was thinking about how it was possible the Vision that she went to go visit in the sword facility wasn't actually the body, but it was rather peculiar that the way it was set up. I mean, he's a $3 billion machine made of vibranium, and they were using hacksaws and drilling him and whatever. It looked more like they were trying to torture him for show rather than pulling him apart and put together. And again, remember, at that point they had him for about 5 years, or at least several years, maybe not the full 5, but they've had him for several years, and they put him back together about 1 million times, they said. I don't know. It was just a little weird.
Because yeah, I think I took notes about that whole thing. So uh so she when she went to the facility, because the whole reason how she connects with Vision is through that mind stone, right? Because her powers exist because that mind stone, and Vision uses the mind stone to exist. So that's the whole reason why they connect on that level. So when she went there and put her head, the mind stone wasn't in him. That's why she said she couldn't feel him, right?
Right.
And so when she said to Vision, so wasn't there a part Vision stated, I just feel you, and that's why when she went there, she said, I just don't feel you, because I took that note down. So Wanda couldn't feel you, blah blah blah.
Yeah, when she's trying to destroy the stone in Infinity War, right before that, he says, "I just feel, don't worry about it. Like do what you got to do. I just feel you."
Right.
Um, yeah. So that could have been a callback to what he says to her in Infinity War. But there's definitely something with the Mind Stone, and somebody else even brought up the fact is she attracted to him because of the Mind Stone?
That's what I think. Yeah. So I think that's what I was alluding to. I don't know.
I mean, I doubt that's what it was, but you don't know that. Now that we know that she has a past with the Mind Stone in that regard. Now, I'm not saying that the Mind Stone gave her complete powers, because it didn't, because we've already
No,
know that she
we
had,
already knew
but
she was born with powers.
but
Yeah.
but power like this she did not have.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the way he
So
was
I was
attracted,
trying to read through my notes because once you said that whole deed thing, I was like, did I write something down about that? But I don't
right?
think I didn't. So because now you just threw me for a loop with that, because I don't think that. Yeah, because she pulled it out of nowhere when she
Yeah,
went with you. So you kind of threw me for a loop for that. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it was just a diversion, and
that's also again, if I might not know the timeline. It might have been possible that he was able to get that plot of land or whatever. And the other thing is too, I'm also going by the fact we don't know is if that basement in under the foundation of where Agatha was living, whether she was really living there or not, was that there because it looked ancient, or did she make that?
Well,
that was a sad what do you call it, scene.
That was
when she went to see him and she's like, I can't feel you. And that's when she knew she was gone.
Yeah.
But it does really beg the question now. And somebody else brought this up in a live Q&A the other day on one of the streams I watch. Somebody brought that up. Is Wanda just drawn or attracted to the stone itself because of how attracted it was to her when she first met it? I mean, it came to her. It showed her something. It also showed her a premonition or vision. No pun intended. It showed her a vision of what's to come. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll find out. And the other thing I want to talk about, but it doesn't really mean it. Doesn't really.
Threw me for a loop.
Oh, I thought you said quick question.
No, that was a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. And the other thing is too. Now that the director of the finale came out and said that us fans might find the finale disappointing, what do you think about that?
I think it's because look at all the fan theories that have been out there. I mean, we thought Emma Frost was coming in. We thought all these characters were coming.
I mean, I never thought that, but yeah, that was only because of Dottie. His line about grief. Yeah.
Who's Dottie? Who is she?
I don't know. That's another thing. Are we going to find out who Dottie is?
Yeah.
I think it's in regards. I think that that those comments were in regards to us thinking a cameo is going to happen. They said that the main foundation of this show, this series, has been about love. So the finale is not going to stray from that. So I don't know what he's trying to say. So I don't know what that means. So that's why I'm hoping it doesn't mean it's going to be all lovey-dovey and end in a good note.
Maybe she has to choose. Maybe it's one of those things where she has to choose between Vision and her children.
That's possible. That's highly possible.
Yeah.
I think you said that because, that was another thing I was thinking too, Stephen, was just for us to lower our bar because we're already going in there way too high. We already are. And we did it ourselves. YouTubers, content creators, fans, we're all going, we're all going on and on about our theories and what we want or what we think is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it doesn't happen, we're all going to be, no, but I wanted Reed Richards.
Everyone's like, no, I wanted Magneto and Professor X.
Why isn't she a mutant? I mean, we want all this, but that's exactly what, that's how we're going to sound at the end of the day if we don't get our way. And look, I think I'm going to like it either way.
Oh, yeah. It was a bravo. Show was fantastic.
The show was fantastic, but so hear me out though. Does it lower the show? What do you think of the show if they don't stick the ending? Because I mean, again, episodes 1 through 8 have been fine. Obviously, have been really good. But if they don't stick the landing in 9, and we're left with questions, or we don't get anything that we thought we're going to get answered. Overall, do you still think the series was a hit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Especially because we know what's coming with a whole movie.
Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, we're gonna pretty much end now anyway. But thank you for sticking around, and everybody that's in the chat. We love the questions. We love the feedback, especially from the people that we don't normally hear from. Jake. I mean, Jake has been on a couple of times, but he changed his name, so he tried to fake me out. He's, he was in. We had Lennon Poole in before. We had our friend all the way from India.
Yeah, nice.
That's always good to see people from all over the world. I mean, obviously there's other guys. I mean, Steven's from I think Vancouver, but so he's up north. But the other guys that I speak to that are in our group chat are all from across the pond. So it's good. It's fun to reach out and talk to people from other parts of the world.
That is, especially because they're going to see this before us.
Lucky bastards.
I know.
All right, guys. Well, again, I'm sorry that we were an hour late, but we did it. we're here and we have just under a day. Well, I mean, for us, I mean, I usually watch it like around 10 a.m. So what do I have? 17 hours? Is that right math? 12? Yeah, that's 17 hours or so before I get to watch it. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. I don't know if you're going to be able to watch it early tomorrow or not.
I have no idea when I'm going to be able to watch it, but I will.
I'm not going to say anything as always, but and then of course we'll do our live reaction sometime this weekend. With our reaction and our thoughts on the finale. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's long enough. Doesn't have to be 2 hours, but I wouldn't mind the hour and 20 that it's rumored to be.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. All right, Kitty, thank you again for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, thanks to everybody who was in that chat. Please, if you do me a favor, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not, and do not miss our live reaction coming up this weekend on the actual finale. And you guys can listen to our thoughts and we can all talk amongst ourselves on how much we either loved or maybe it wasn't that good. Hopefully it's the former. All right, guys, enjoy your day, enjoy the upcoming weekend, and we will see you soon. Thank you for watching Talk Soup. Thank you for coming on, Kitty.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.